And we're live. What's going on? How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Thursday night Q&A live stream. Made a post in a YouTube short earlier today and asked for questions. So that's what we're doing is every Thursday, keep an eye out for a post on the YouTube timeline and or a YouTube short to solicit for questions that we might be able to talk about tonight. And so there's a couple of those. Welcome. We do this every week. If you have a guitar question, you can get over there in the chat and ask a question, put a bunch of question marks in front of it, and she'll try to grab it out of there. And then we will be able to answer that question for you, probably. And then we're going to talk about off-topic stuff at 9 o'clock. Because we talk about off-topic stuff at 9 o'clock every week. And the topic of tonight's off-topic, one of them, we don't need to talk about this the entire time, but we were challenged to a duel of gummy bears last week. Well, you are. I hate gummy bears. But that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So that is the most important issue of the evening. We'll get to that later. But before then, if you have guitar questions, get in the chat and ask them, and we will talk about them. A couple of things I want to mention to you that are going on right now, besides the duel of gummy bears. It's actually like a world war of gummy bears. Where's the other gummy bears from?
I don't know.
I don't either. Okay, so we do have some limited editions of Enduro colors on the website under the pickup vault. So go check those out. I think you'll be able to dig that. I also want to encourage questions tonight about kind of the differences between some of our pickups that people get confused. So if there's things that you're thinking about or, I was wondering which one I should get. I want to talk about a little bit tonight. If you bring up, you can ask the questions. I don't want to do a whole thing on it, but if you have questions about this, sometimes there's questions about output between like a PAF and a P90. And then, of course, our humbucker size P90 and our Enduro, because they're kind of all different pickups that kind of all fit in the same slot. So we want to talk about that a little bit. We're working on a bunch of loaded pick guards. So if you have questions about loaded pick guards, that's cool. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is today we added Sezzle to the website. So for those of you that are not familiar with Sezzle, it like splits stuff up into 4 payments, sort of like Shop Pay, but it's more widely known, I think. And it's interest free and that kind of stuff. So for example, if you were going to buy a pick guard, when you're shopping for a pick guard or a set of pickups, it'll show you could pay for the whole thing today, or right on the product page, it'll say, 4 payments, once a week for $38 a piece or something. And then you have a pickup, right? So whatever it is, it'll tell you and it'll split it all out for you. So I just want to mention that because that's a feature that a lot of other big websites have. And I looked into it and I was like, maybe this will help some people out to make a purchase that they wouldn't otherwise be able to make. So I wanted to mention those things tonight. So.
Somebody said he thought those were dancing bears and we were going to talk about Jerry Garcia.
No, we're not going to talk about Jerry Garcia. I mean, you can talk about Jerry Garcia if you want. I've never really been a fan of the Grateful Dead. So it's just kind of not my thing. But sure, we'll talk
Were
about
we watching something the other night, or I watched something where there was some Grateful Dead information?
You must have been, because I have zero interest at all.
Okay.
I just don't care. Like I cannot. I've tried. I really have. And I can't. Yeah. Maybe. It is. Probably. Yeah. Anyway. We've got a couple questions that came in over there. Maybe we should answer those, and then we'll get into any questions that you might have.
Tim. Hi, Dylan and Leslie and Bree. Just bought myself a Squier Classic Vibe 70s in Olympic White for some fun. Going to put a set of your Bonnevilles in it. Made me wonder why some pickups have staggered pole pieces and others don't.
Ooh, that's a great question. So in the olden times, remember that electric guitars were adaptations of acoustic guitars, right? So back in the day, you would have strings were made differently. Of course, you would have a wound G. That would be a thing. But also the gauges of the strings were different. So what you might not realize, this is an interesting kind of thing, is that so let's take a set of 10s, because I know that by heart. So, it's 9, what is it? 9, 13, 9, 13. So I thought I knew it by heart. 9, 13, 17, 26, 36, 46. And that's thousandths of an inch. But what you might not realize is that the wound part of the string versus the core is a lot of the difference, like between brands and stuff. So if you have a 17 G string that is wound, the outside diameter of that G string is the 17, but the inner core is very, very small, probably a 10. So a 10 with winding around it. Why is that important? Because nickel strings and older nickel strings especially, and then a lot of the other materials that we use today, the core is the thing that's more magnetic than the outside of the string, especially with old-timey strings. So in order for the pickup to pick it up, the core would be smaller, even though the outside diameter would be bigger. So that's why you would have this unevenness of, so if you ever look at it, you'll see like the E will be lower, then the B will be higher. The G might be really high. The D will be lower, or whatever. I don't know. I have to grab a guitar and look at it. I can't remember. But basically, you would typically have on an old school set, like in the 60s, you would have two magnets that were like 630 thousandths or 650 thousandths. You'd have two magnets that were 710 thousandths, and you'd have two magnets that were like 671 thousandths. Sometimes the B string would be really small. Whatever. But the idea is that because of the way strings were made, the core to outside diameter and what was magnetic to be picked up by the pickup, or to be magnetized by the pickup, was different than it is now. Couple that with the old school fretboard radius. So you take a 7 1/4 inch fretboard radius, and the middle of the pickup is further away. Plus you have this weird string diameter thing. That's why they were staggered. Now, what did he say he bought?
A Squier Classic Vibe 70s.
Okay, so that's a 9.5 inch radius fretboard, I think, which is pretty flat. And then you also don't have to worry about all the old string technology. So putting a set of Bonnevilles in it with flat poles is going to be fine. Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Pretty neat.
Do we need to do these in order now, or can I?
No, we could do them however you want. Because, like if there's somebody else asks a question regarding that too, we could just,
Okay.
Since people didn't pay.
Not regarding the same thing.
Oh, you could also use a super chat tonight too. That will also be awesome.
Well, we can just do these first. That's how we've historically done
Yeah, that's fine.
But I really like the look of the clear acrylic on the flat 6 tele pickups. Does not having the metal cover change the tone of the flat 6 neck pickup?
So one of the problems with the cover on a Telecaster pickup is it really starts to kill highs. If it's a cheap cover made of brass instead of nickel, and if the pickup is already a little bit muddy to begin with. As you are probably aware, I think, Butch, you have some of our pickups already. You know that clarity is not a problem for us, and so we sort of engineer around that. If you were to do a really controlled back-to-back comparison, you could probably hear a little bit of a difference. But it's nothing to write home about. Like if you have a stock Fender, or if you have a classic Vibe Telly, then you take the cover off. That's going to make a huge difference. So it kind of depends on the quality of the pickup.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ferda Tacos says, evening, Dylan and Leslie.
Evening.
I'm watching you on my phone tonight. Got the Penguins game on the TV. What are the differences between the DAF and Thruxtons?
So the DAF is our vintage PAF style pickup. So that's going to give you, your 7.8K Alnico 5, super, super vintage feeling thing. The Thruxton is my slash pickup, basically. So it's Alnico 2, and it is wound a little hotter. They're about 8.2. And they are amazing. Absolutely amazing. They will crush a small wattage amp, though. So if you have, not crush, but it will, like if I play it through my Princeton, it's a lot harder to get them to stay clean. So you'll need a cleaner amp if you want really, really clean with the Thruxtons. Obviously, if you think about what Slash's tone is like. But that whole neck pickup woman kind of thing that Slash gets, the Sweet Child of Mine thing, that's it right there, man. Yeah, it's cool.
T-Bone. Hey guys, Dylan, do you think Fender is getting carried away with so many Strat models? And then he said, gummy bears aren't so bad.
I think I understand why they do it. Okay. So if you think about Fender's line, yes, I think there's way too many. But if you think about Fender's line as a customer, okay, it's a lot less. We should do a video about this. It's a lot less confusing if you look at it like pick a color, any color, pick a bridge style, pick a neck radius, and just go for it. And so pick a decade, I guess. Pick a 50 style, a 60 style, a 70 style, or something modern, right? That's basically personally what I would do. And then get the best one you can get with your budget. So you've got your classic vibe stuff and the whole Squire line. You've got that Indonesian stuff that just came out, but that's all more modern. And then you've got the made in Mexico stuff, which you can choose from more modern or more vintage. And then you've got the made in the United States stuff that goes from $1,500 on up to $15,000. So I would say get the best guitar you can get with your budget. Spend as much as you can because there are differences between them. There are practical differences in quality between them, fret materials and hardware and that kind of stuff. But do it in blocks. So you've got the Asian stuff, you've got the Mexican stuff, and you've got the American stuff, and then just pick a decade. And then if you're like, you know what? I don't really care what kind of bridge I have, 2-post, 6-screw, whatever, and I want this blue one, then just get it. Don't stress about it a whole lot. So 3 blocks of budget, pick a decade, pick a color, call it done. It'll be way easier to think of it that way. Or do like what I did and pick an artist and be like, you know what? I've got the Mike McCready Strat. I absolutely love it. It does all the things for me. And that's the only guitar I need, really. That's the only Strat I really need. I mean, I got a couple others, but I don't feel the need to go buy another one,
All right. Next up, we have Jerry J. Stone. Your opinion, please. In your Telecaster pickup sets, can we do a bridge, middle, neck set with you? And could the neck and middle be set up to be a humbucking pair?
Yes and no. But yes, I would absolutely. So here's what you need to do. Order a set. So do you want to do like a Nashville set with a Strat pickup in the middle? Because we have that. You can actually just go on the website and buy that. That's a set that we do. If you want to do 2 Tele pickups and then a Tele bridge pickup, just order them all at the same time on the same order. And then there'll be a thing on it. You can put a note on it and say, can you make this reverse wound, reverse polarity, which we would normally do. And then you would be able to wire it that way. What we will not be able to do for you is we will not be able to send you a wiring kit. So we have like 3-way and 4-way series wiring kits for regular tele stuff. What we will not be able to do is send you a full-blown, I can sell you the parts, the switch, the pots, the cap, the jack, all that stuff, but you'll have to do it yourself because actually, let me back up, you need a super switch or you need a push-pull or you need something other to flip the phase to do series, not flip the phase, but to do series with that middle and that neck pickup. So I will make you the pickups. I will make them in the correct layout so it will work, but I will not wire it for you. Okay. And there are diagrams out there to do that. You can find them, but somebody was asking me about this in the chat yesterday. Will you provide me this very specific wiring diagram for this very specific thing that I am doing? We provide pretty basic ones. So, your basic Les Paul, your basic Strat, your basic Tele, your 4-way, how to wire a humbucker, like that kind of stuff. You get that when you buy pickups from us. But if it's very specialized, it's difficult, basically impossible for us to support all of those, because then if you have a problem for some reason, I can't really troubleshoot it for you. Right. And I don't want to give you something or send you down a path that then gets messed up and then you're unhappy not because the product was wrong, but because there was some other difficulty that I could not support. So I don't want to do that to you. So you'll have to definitely wire it yourself. It's doable though. It's totally doable. And the set, even though the set of pickups isn't normal, we've done it lots of times for people. I would be happy to do it. That'd be cool.
Is the reverse wound what he means by humbucker
repair? Yeah. So if you do a reverse wound, reverse polarity, basically we would make it like a Strat setup where it would be the neck pickup would be south up, negative start. The middle pickup would be north up, positive start. And then the bridge pickup would be south up, negative start. And then those two pickups would be wired backwards from each other so that when you hook them up in series, they would act together like a humbucker. So, yeah.
I thought so. I just want to make sure you answered his question.
No. That's good. Thank you for asking that.
I guess he said about the other question. So I don't know if he means his first question about can you do that?
Okay.
Or the second question about the humbucking part. He said, would that just be a waste of time?
No, it would be very cool. It would be very cool. I have a guitar that does that. I have one of my PRSs does that, and it's neat. It's neat. I might suggest, though, something more effective and less weird and easier to do, and frankly cheaper, would be to buy one of our center punch humbucking pickups, put that in the neck position. If you have a route under there that'll fit it. And if you get with me, I can provide a pick guard for you too. We can sell you a pick guard and the wiring and all the everything for that. And then we would put a push pull on there to where in the neck position, you would get a really nice single coil sound, not a stupid coil split weak sound. Our pickups actually do this properly. And then a regular Telecaster bridge pickup. And then you would have that neck humbucker more conventionally. You would still have the neck single coil, and then you would still have all the normal regular Tele stuff, and it would be cheaper actually, because a humbucker costs less than 2 Tele pickups by a fair amount. So we could do that for you, and it would work awesome. And if you wanted to do a custom pick guard and all that kind of stuff, we could do all that.
He said, understood, and thank you.
For that stuff, custom stuff like that, I'm willing to do that with anybody. Like I had a guy yesterday asking me about doing P90s in a Strat and various things. Shoot me a chat on the website. Just go to DylanTalksTone.com and the little chat down there. Be like, hey, I was the guy from the live stream who was asking you about this. and we can work through all the details, and I can send you a custom invoice for something that we don't normally have on the website with all the parts breakdown and everything, and we can be very specific about it so we don't lose any details, okay? I'm happy to do that. We do it all the time. Everybody, there's lots of people who are like, I want to do this really weird thing, and, can you make me a purple pick guard? Yeah, sure, we can do, we can do lots of fun stuff. That's not on the website, so just hit that chat and we'll get you worked out. It's my favorite stuff to do, actually.
All right, I want to catch Steve B here before he just comes to a conclusion. He says, hey, everyone, what kind of tonal differences or feel are there between the DAF and Super 8 and the center punch versus 8-ball? The reason I say let's get to it now. So DAF versus Super 8, center punch versus 8-ball. Because Curtis Chavez said, Dylan has demos on YouTube and his website. After listening, in my humble opinion, the DAF and Super 8 are almost spot on with each other, except the Super 8 pushes an amp to break up faster. DAF is cleaner. And then he said...
He's spot on. That's what I would say,
that
too.
Makes sense. I would probably prefer the DAF then for my style. But while Steve is here and he's asking the question...
Yep. That's exactly what I would say. And then for the 8-ball and the center punch, exactly the same. The difference between those two pickups, the center punch and the 8-ball, is the magnet. The wind is exactly the same, but those are the coil splitty cool ones that don't volume drop when you coil split. So those are super cool. But they're the same wind, different magnet. And then we took our DAF, which is our vintage style pickup, and put a different magnet in it, and it made the Super 8. So what you're thinking is exactly right. That's exactly right. It's kind of the same. I would say, I'll tell you where my favorite place to put a Super 8, to be honest with you, is in the bridge position of a single hum Stratocaster. That is my favorite spot. Well, I'll put them in lots of stuff. I actually have it in my I have a Super 8 in my Hello Kitty guitar. So if you watched the Tonex video this morning, because we did that Tonex launch this morning, that Hello Kitty guitar has that Super 8 in it. And it is bonkers good. I love that thing.
All right. I have to say first, before I ask this question, is thank you to long name Monkey Shredder ... And then after his question, he was like, my name is Joey, by the way. So Joey
That's
says,
funny.
Dylan, so I am a self-taught setup guy. Sounds silly, but I have an EVH Frankie striped series, and I wanted to get your opinion on what would the best reference for proper setup for low action.
So if I understand correctly, that's probably got a Floyd type thing on it with a locking nut, right? And it's got a pretty flat fretboard radius. So look for another guitar that's real simple, that's real similar like that, with a similar fretboard radius, with a similar fret size, and with a similar tremolo. Off the top of my head, something like a Charvel San Dimas comes to mind. Like with that, you know what I mean? It's the same kind of architecture. Basically what I would do is, it sounds like your self-trained setup guy tells me that you probably have experimented with at least fixing high frets and that kind of stuff. So you can probably get your neck pretty good, right? So just go through the motions with it. What I would do first. So if I was in your position wanting to get very low action on this guitar, these are the steps I would take. First, I would take a StewMac straight edge, not one off of Amazon. Link in the description. I would take a StewMac straight edge. I would straighten the neck as straight as possible. Then I would take a fret rocker, and I would fret rocker the whole thing, and I would fix any high frets, and I would give them a polish. Okay. Just make sure that your frets are really, really good first. Okay. Make sure the neck's real straight and the frets are real good. After that, then I would go ahead and set your put strings on the guitar, the proper, everything. Set your fretboard, your neck relief to almost flat. So like 2/1000 maybe. And then go ahead and do the rest of the setup on the guitar. And also, when you do it, if it has a Floyd, check that your nut height is low enough. Sometimes on more inexpensive double action tremolo guitars, the nut will be, if you're probably familiar with the numbers, but it'll be like R6, R7, R8, like that. And the height of the nut might be a little bit too high. So you might actually have to take the nut off and actually sand the neck underneath it. That's how you do it with a Floyd, to lower it down. So you might have to do some math there. So make sure that the nut height is right, and then go to your string height and do all that stuff. And I bet if your fretwork is good, you'll get really low action. That's kind of the steps I would take.
Got some folks chiming in about things they have to reinforce purchases, I guess. Sean McMillan says, I have a set of Thruxtons and a Gibson SG. Absolutely fantastic.
I don't have any Thruxtons in anything right now, and I need to rectify that.
Dean McCaskill says, I have a DAF and a Strat. It's a banger.
Oh, really? Wow, cool. In a Strat.
Steve B says, thanks for the explanation. I have a center punch and a hum single Strat. Always wondered if I would like an 8-ball or Super 8.
A center punch and a Strat's pretty rad. In a bridge position, I'm down with that. I like that a lot.
All right, Dean McCaskill again. Hi, it's been a minute. Do you know anything about pedals? I have an OD pedal that the volume goes from 0 to insane between 1 to 2 on the dial. Do you think it's the potentiometer?
Maybe. It might be dirty. Yeah, it might be dirty.
Then Jeremiah Miraz says, I have a Shroot 2 OD that is 2 times louder than all my other pedals. Why is that?
That's a good question too. That might be a pot value thing. That might be a cap thing. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I have a pedal that's like that. I have one that's way louder than everything else.
Stratified. Good evening,
He
Dylan.
probably has a
Leslie.
Strat.
Dylan, are Fender pickups from the 50s and 60s fuller and warmer? If so, why?
So if your name is Stratified and not Telefied, we'll go with Strat first. They are very good. I have some 60s Abigail pickups in there, and they're phenomenally good. Like very, very good. There is no real reason. She's just an old lady that knows what she's doing. She just did a lot of them. She's neat, man. She's super nice too. I learned a lot from her. But there's nothing really special. That's what's interesting about all that stuff is nothing's really changed, since then. They do it the same way. In fact, I've talked to her and been like, I've seen pickups that she made like last week. I don't know if you know this or not, but she still makes pickups. She's like her favorite thing. So like at home, her and her daughter sit around and drink tea and make pickups. Like they like to do it. And she's doing it the exact same way that she did it when she was at Fender 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So I don't think there's anything really inherently special. I just think it was a moment in time, and you can get bad ones. I've worked on a lot of old Fenders, a lot of them. I got a buddy of mine who collects vintage Fenders, and I've worked on a lot of his guitars. And here's what I'll tell you. He has a collection of vintage Fenders, but for every one good Strat that he owns, he buys like 5 vintage Fender Strats, and they all suck. And then he like ends up ditching them, selling them, returning them, etc., till he gets a good one. And I've played those guitars and I've worked on them, and there's more bad ones than good ones. So it's not really anything overly special, but they are very cool. And I would love to have one. I just can't afford it presently.
Oh, I'm on the wrong tab.
I want a real 61 Strat so bad. I mean, I have that Mike McCready, but I want a 61 Strat so bad.
I already asked that question. Into Infinity. Hey, are capacitors an actual needed electronic when trying to build your own guitar with the pots and new pickups?
Yes, because if you don't have a capacitor, that tone knob won't do anything.
Somebody, I didn't keep their comment because a lot of times you have the same explanation as somebody else. Curtis Chavez says, I have a Strat style Yamaha with a volume and bridge humbucker only. It sounds and works great. No capacitors needed.
Well, okay. Point taken. If you don't have a tone knob, you don't need a capacitor. But a tone knob definitely needs a capacitor to work.
Doc Siltonen, I have a Super 8 in the bridge and a humbucker size P90 and one of my flame maple topped Model Ts. They pair extremely well. My 10th anniversary DAFs live in my first Model T prototype. Perfect pairing.
I have one of your Model Ts, and I just took out my DAFs, and I put a set of Paisley center punches in there, and they're cool. And I put a coil split on it and all
that. What does that say? Mountain Ho Android? I'm sure that's not the right cadence of words there. Can you stop stroking that knife?
No.
Sorry, that's funny. Stroking. Tazzy Tim said, I've started putting slight fall away on my frets 15 and above. Have you tried this before?
That comes from acoustic guitars a lot because the tail of an acoustic guitar can move around. I haven't ever had the need to do it, but then again, that's not where I make my money, above there, way up in those tiny frets.
Doc says he does it on every build.
Does he really? I mean, I know why people do it, and I can understand why. It makes sense. I've just never done it. I suppose I could try it. There's nothing that would stop me from trying it, I suppose.
Stephen Carl says, why do Fender and Gibson reissue models? Marketing gimmick or real gains?
So it depends on the reissue. Because people buy them. That's why, because people want them. If they don't make a particular guitar anymore, because it was limited, here's the thing that we don't think about is that various models and various years of guitars and various eras of guitars were these various snapshots in time, right? And so you take, for example, Gibson, and they'll reissue an Epiphone version of a vintage guitar because they can do that at volume, but it costs a lot less to do it, right? So I don't know, they'll do whatever people will buy. I think the idea that, hey buddy, you want to say hi? I think the idea that people that brands are like money grabbing when they release a guitar is kind of dumb. What they're doing is trying to stay open. And what they're doing is building guitars that people will buy. And so if people want the stuff, they'll make it, And people wanting the stuff is the result of people with pocket protectors and nice suits and fancy pens, like making decisions far above the angry guy in the comments section in a Facebook group who says, I think they should make a Strat with a different color pick guard, and I don't know why they won't. They might notice that guy and they might take note of him, but they're also looking at a far bigger picture of a market that is much bigger than, a lot of times what will happen is, like, for example, on a video like this, 100 people will say something in agreement on a Facebook post or in a comment section on a video, and then they think that's the entire world. In actuality, it's very, very small. So, it could be there's a lot more strategy that goes into all of that than just, hey, we should reissue this guitar that we don't make anymore. Strategy.
Um,
As opposed
Matt,
to telegy.
yes. Matt Sanders says, hey, not a question, but a comment. You did the hum single hum with the Gilmore switch for me. I love the tones. It's super versatile. Running all three under heavy distortion also sounds really nice.
That's cool. I'm actually in the process of doing another single hum for a guy right now. Yep.
I don't know what this means, so I'm just going to read it. CET777. Hey, Dylan, how close can a P100 get to the sound of a P90? For example, by underwinding one of the coils?
So a P100, I mean, so the trick with, let me see something here. Sometimes people get confused as to what a P100 is, and I will fall under that said category at the moment because I don't pay attention because I make my own stuff. So,
well, how do you know when you need to make something else then?
Oh, they're Gibson P100s. They're not Seymour Duncans. I thought they were Seymour Duncans. I want to see if these are noise canceling or not. So there is no such thing? Hang on. Okay. So they are a stacked so it's a stacked P90. No, there's no way to make it sound like a real P90 because there's two coils in there. I am of the opinion that you can make a quieter than normal P90, which is what we do. But to make a noiseless single coil, it is no longer a single coil. And so I always say, if you want a single coil, get a single coil. If you want a humbucker, get a humbucker. It's just, I am of the opinion that you should take all of the various aspects of a P90 and use them to your advantage instead of trying to make something else sound like that. I'm kind of a purist when it comes to that, especially because we make the best P90 in the world. I'm not going to mess with it. I had somebody ask me that yesterday. Can you make a noiseless one? I'm like, no, I will not. Can you make an Alnico 8 one? No, I will not. Can you make an Alnico 2 one? No, I will not. Because we make the best P90 in the world and it is amazing. And if you mess with it, it's not that anymore. And that's all I want to do is the one we're really good at. Because we are really good at them.
Dean McCaskill says, I have that McCready as well. I bought on your recommendation. I love it.
Isn't it good? I know it costs too much money, but I just don't care. Every time I play it, there's certain things. There's bills you don't like to pay. I hate paying the water bill. I really hate paying the water bill. And there's another bill I really hate paying too. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. I don't like to pay it. But I like paying my car payment because I really like my car. You know what I mean? Like, I love driving my car. So I like paying my car payment, actually, because I enjoy it. That guitar is the same way. I don't care how much it costs. Every time I play it, I'm like, you know what? Okay, so yeah, it's an expensive made in Mexico guitar. I don't even care. I love this thing. I think it every time I play it. And especially every time somebody says that guitar's too expensive. I'm like, yeah, it's because you don't have one. It's awesome. I love it.
Dog Dr. Tim said, I like making fancy pen decisions.
Same.
Um,
Tomorrow's fountain pen day, by the way. We'll
Curtis
talk about that later.
Chavez says, I feel that reissues are so popular because the guitars have mass appeal. The colors, hardware, etc.
Yeah.
are proven to work, and the vintage bones are standardized for easy modding.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that people forget, and this is something I'm trying to really focus on lately in our content, is this stuff is about a feeling. You know, the people that say, I'll never buy a signature guitar, I'll never buy, okay, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. You can buy whatever you want. But, you know, I played a lot of guitar and have a lot of musical influence from the grunge era. And I went to the Pearl Jam 10 tour when they were touring with Helmet. And I was like, I don't remember how old I was, but I was very young. And I'm like, this was a formative time of my musical development. And so I'm a huge fan, right? The same thing with, I bought that Slash Les Paul because I'm a fan and she's a fan. And, you know, so you do things for certain reasons, you know, like example, the Back to the Future 345, that thing sold out almost immediately, you know, for $1,000 or whatever it was. Oh, that's an expensive Epiphone. Yeah. Who cares? Like, everybody thinks it's cool from that time period. I'm a Back to the Future kid. I don't really care about Epiphones that much, so I didn't buy one, but I understand why people jumped all over it. And here's the other thing is reissues are going to come out at different times for different people. So let's say they reissue a 1985 Kramer Beretta in a particular color with the crooked pickup and all, right? You know, somebody from the 70s isn't going to care about that guitar. But as we travel through history, the dates that these various guitars were made at are going to hit various groups of people at various times, right? Like that's honestly why that McCready guitar hit at a certain time for me, because it was like, now there's some nostalgia for me because they reissued that guitar, you know, this many years after 10 came out. So those things, as we travel through time, those various models and those various reissues and those various special editions and colorways and stuff will hit different groups of people. And those marketing people know that. They're like, okay, in 2025, this genre of people is going to be this age. What record came out when they were in high school? Oh, it looks like it was Pantera something, or it was whatever. That record that came out the year they graduated school and they saw all those garage bands, everybody was playing X or Y guitar. Let's reissue that guitar. So they do all that brainiac work behind that, and it makes a lot of sense. And that's why they always sell out. Most of that stuff, people want to say, well, I saw some on clearance. But okay, you saw some on clearance is different than we made 10,000 of these things and there's 40 of them left on clearance. That's pretty good. You know what I mean? So yeah.
J Sob H. Side note, definitely test some Martin silk and steel marquee silk end strings on your Sable. OMG, what a huge difference. The strings seem to make much more of a difference on carbon fiber contact.
I don't like them. But you are right. When I bought my first carbon fiber guitar, I experimented with strings for probably 2 months. In fact, I think that inspired one of the times where we did a video where I was like doing 10 different sets of strings and doing kind of like a shootout thing. And it was a thing. Yeah, it was a thing. You know, okay, let's do this. Hell, never mind. I'm going to make a short about it. I want to do a string experiment thing again.
I remember when we were in the motorhome, we did like, you didn't know what they were.
Where I did,
I controlled it.
Yeah, so what we did is she opened the packages and kept the packages and just handed me the strings, and I put the strings on the guitar. A couple times I could tell because, like, you can tell when it's an Elixir and you can tell when it's like a Dunlop has the little sweet tart ends on it. But more brands are doing that now. It'd be harder to tell. Where it was like a blind thing, and then I tried to guess which strings were on the guitar, and some of them I got right, and a lot of them I got wrong. Let's see. String shootout. We're gonna do electric this time. And we'll do it on we'll do it on my Paisley. We'll do it on my Paisley TTG because I really know that guitar and their P90s, and I really know those pickups. So we'll do a string shootout. So what I'll do is I'm going to make a short tomorrow asking for suggestions for brands to try. And then we'll kind of go by votes. Like, everybody says, oh, you should try these ones. Then we'll do that. And then typically what I do with those is I'll buy 10 sets and it'll be a longer term thing. Cause I'll play them for a week on each guitar or on that guitar and on the same guitar. And then I'll switch them. And then I'll take notes and record stuff with all of them. And it'll be a longer term thing, but that's a really fun experiment to do.
Yep.
We haven't done that in a long time, so we'll do that.
Tazzy Tim says Alnico versus ceramic, pros and cons.
There's really no pro or con to it. There's a lot of people who will kind of do the basswood thing with ceramic, where they'll say that ceramic pickups are cheaper. That is because the material in a ceramic pickup the magnet is cheaper. And it is also associated with guitars that are cheaper because it's a cheaper material. But when it comes to the sound that you can make with a ceramic pickup, you can get very warm, very fat, very thick sounds with a ceramic pickup, with a ceramic magnet. You just have to know what you're doing with the rest of it, because it's only one aspect of the pickup, right? I would never really use, well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say I would never really use them in a regular single coil, but we do. Yeah, no, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing that I know that people talk about, but here's what I'll say about pickup design. You can basically use any available part, okay? And you can design it. If you put the time into it, you can design the pickup to sound a certain way. And if you can hit the goal of your design with the materials that you have, then it's a success. If you cannot, then you have to change the materials to get to the goal. A good example of this would be somebody like DiMarzio. So DiMarzio, on a lot of pickups, they use a brass base plate that is oftentimes associated with a very cheap pickup. But he uses it with great success because he has that material in mind when he does the rest of his design work. So it's just, you have to look at the whole material. You have to look at the whole list of parts and the goal before you decide what you're going to use, or in the end anyway. Yeah.
Is it the air?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was warmer today. It was like 76 degrees today.
Martian Murray says, I hate spending money on anything I can't eat or play.
Yeah, that's funny.
Curtis Chavez says, I think that if you want a humbucker that sounds similar to a P90, get a PAF humbucker. They're different, but the PAFs were based on the P90s and they're not a world apart.
So that's an interesting observation. You're right. And in fact, a P90 is actually hotter than a PAF. It makes more voltage. It has a different mid-range though, and it has a different frequency response altogether, but it doesn't hit the amp as hard. if it's a real PAF, a good one. Our DAFs are 7.8K and our PAFs are our P90s are 8.2 with way more magnet, twice the magnet. Actually, a P90 has twice the magnet. So, yeah.
Stephen Carl says opinion on PRS narrow field pickups.
I don't have an opinion on them because I've never spent any real time with one. I want to play one of those, and I just have we have not crossed paths enough for me to give a meaningful opinion.
Edgar Cesario, why does everyone keep complaining about how much something costs? The guitar, picks, etc. I only buy what I want when I can afford. Don't like it, don't buy it, and I leave it at that.
It's kind of what I think too.
I actually heard something you were watching the other day, and the question that somebody asked was something about budget friendly, and the initial response was budget friendly. I guess that depends on what your budget is.
Oh, that was a fountain pen video, but yeah,
I know
same thing.
I wasn't going to say that.
Same thing.
But
yeah,
that's a brilliant response, because what does budget friendly mean? Something to everybody. We all have a different budget.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've been talking about lately too is that the scale has shifted in the last 4 or 5 years. So people want to say that a mid-range guitar is $800, but a mid-range guitar is $1,200 to $1,500 now, where it wasn't before. An inexpensive, so there's cheap guitars like Amazon cheap, Harley Benton cheap, $250, right? But an inexpensive sort of entry-level guitar is $500 to $800 now. Like your classic vibe Strat, your the Affinity stuff is, even an Affinity's $3-something now. So a good entry-level guitar, I would say like a classic vibe kind of thing, is $500. And then you can kind of probably work your way up to about $800. Well, a mid-range guitar now, what we used to consider, a mid-range guitar, like a kind of like a higher end Mexico guitar, they're $1,200 now. So the scale has shifted. Obviously, stuff's gotten more expensive. The least expensive American-made guitar nowadays is, well, Fender makes one for about 15 or 16. But then things start to go up from there. So you get to $2,000 fairly quickly now. Where before you could really say, I could buy a Bullet Strat or a Bullet Telly. Okay, but that's a really inexpensive guitar and there's reasons for it. So when we did that video, like the 10 best budget guitars for like entry-level guitar players, I stuck under $800, but most of it was like $500 to $600 because that's a realistic number now, where it didn't used to be, And yes, is that in your budget? I don't know because I don't know your budget, but I just know the reality of it is $500 to $800 is kind of where we're at right now for a relatively inexpensive but still attainable guitar. Just kind of how life is. I mean, the cheapest American-made pocket knife right now, well, I don't know, a $110 is still $80. It's like $68. But like if you go buy a Kershaw American-made pocket knife with a Magna Cut blade, which is now made in Sweden, but okay, it's $130. Like that's crazy.
Sean McMillan said the manufacturers recognize that 20 to 30 years later, that demographic now has money to afford a reissue. Prime example is the Adam Jones Gibson Silverburst reissue.
Yes. Excellent example. And Tool didn't make any music for a long time. And then they started making music again. Perfect time to bring that guitar back up. Was that Sean McMillan? Mm-hmm. He has a couple of limited edition guitars that were guitars that became famous 15 years ago. You know, his Lizzie Hale signature that he's got, and you know, some other stuff. So he's right too. You have to think that yeah, I couldn't afford to buy the guitars that I have now when I was in high school listening to those bands. I had to grow up and learn how to be irresponsible with my money so that I could buy them now.
Greg Guitars and Stuff. The coil tap on the PRS DGT SE sounds amazingly close to a single coil.
Yeah, the reason is because it's not a real coil split. They put a resistor in there and they only turn the coil off partially. So it's not, that's why. That's why it doesn't drop in volume, because they don't actually split it. But that's PR's trick. They've been doing that for a long time.
J Sob H. Speaking of expensive, have you seen the Close Timberline Carbon Acoustic? It has a nickel treatment that supposedly produces a woody tone, and it looks pretty cool.
I played the prototype a couple years ago, and it's rad.
Jerry J. Stone. I work in custom woodwork. When I was new, I saw a designer tell my boss his price was too expensive. He said, "No, you just can't afford it." LOL.
That's right.
Curtis Chavez says, I'm currently trying the String Joy Broadways. I love, love, love them. They don't zing like modern electric guitar strings, but they don't sound dead. They sing rather than yell.
I know what you're saying, because there are some of these super modern strings that are so jangly that you kind of want them to be a week old, you know? Yeah, I know what you're saying. Some of these, like the Cobalt stuff, and there's some, they almost sound springy or something. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yep. I put a link to the Tonex plug in the description of this video. If you want to go buy one, you should. They're $150. I guess I forgot to say the price in the video, but they're really cool. I like it a lot.
Marsha Murray says, seen the Noel Gallagher P90 Les Paul. I want it. A P90 Les Paul with a thin neck.
Yep, I did see that. That's pretty neat. Yeah, because usually those have the 50s style necks on them, and they're really thick.
I'm all caught up with 2 minutes to spare.
All right. I'm trying to think of what else I could tell everybody. Guitar string thing is going to be cool. I haven't done that in a long time.
Still caught up?
It's all right.
Anything you want to wrap up with since you only have a couple minutes?
Not really. Go check out our video today, please. That would be cool. We're going to do another. I got a video coming out tomorrow. That's going to be pretty neat. And that I think beginner guitar players, I've been really focusing on beginner guitar players lately, kind of thinking about what they might need because stuff is so confusing sometimes. So, yep. Hey, Brianna, can you grab the gummy bears?
Sean McMillan said, in my opinion, a pocket knife is my adult fidget spinner.
Same.
Matt Sanders said, I would get the Tonex, but I've gotten hooked on the M-Vave stuff. Love the MK300.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Second drawer. Yeah.
So there should be 2 bags in there, and there's going to be one that's the normal ones and one that not. Are you going to participate, Brianna? Okay.
She looks like she's ready to participate.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I was asking. Okay. So
Tazzy Tim said, by the way, your pickups only took 5 days to get here.
because we're using DHL now, and it is
Don't show yet.
it is awesome for international. It is awesome for international shipping. DHL has been awesome. It took like 5 days to get to Japan, which was super cool, and it's way more reliable. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's just way more reliable, and it's trackable all the way to the destination. And yeah, it's awesome.
All right, it's 9:00.
All right, so this is off topic hour. So here's what we do for off topic hour. You get to ask any question you want. If you're new to this, you get to ask any question you want as long as it doesn't have to do with guitars. If it is a guitar question, you have to use a super chat.
Of which we've gotten 0.
We've gotten
I don't
0
remember
super
that.
chats. We've never gone an hour with no super chat.
Yeah, I don't remember a time that happened.
That is wild. Yeah. Anyway, so last week we talked about candy. And Leslie and Brianna, basically, because I don't do gummy bears, but Leslie has been a fan of, what's the gummy bears that you do like? Those ones.
Haribo Gold Bears. So do you know? So they're originally from Germany.
Right.
1920. It was the first gummy bear.
Really?
Yes. So
All right. So she's been a fan of these for a long time. And we seek them out, and she,
I mean, I remember when they weren't even popular. Like, I used to have to get them at the Oriental Market.
That's
Because
why
they had
I
a
thought.
German section.
So that's why I thought they were Asian,
Oh no, there was a German section.
because we used to go to the Asian market. We used to go to the Asian market to get them, and then they started carrying them at like Target and stuff.
They had those by the Toblerones.
That's right. That's right. I guess it wasn't just the Asian market; it was international market,
Yeah.
because they had different countries
Correct.
on different aisles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
So then the challenge being, everybody says
that
these Albanese ones are actually the best. Well, these are made in Indiana.
Wait a minute. They have more flavors.
talk about it.
It's going to be texture for me, because it even says they say they are the world's. This is the Albanese ones, made in the United States, Indiana. The world's best gummies, super soft texture, bright flavors, and made from real fruit juice.
That's what this one says. The new one.
Yeah, they produce 150,000 pounds of gummies per day.
Well, somebody likes them then.
Oh, and you can go on a public tour. So if they're delicious, we'll have to go on a tour.
9 pieces of serving size? That's stupid.
Wait, where are they in
1 piece is
Indiana?
13.
Maryville. I don't know. It says, I don't know how you actually pronounce it. That's what I see when I read it.
Is it Maryville?
Merrillville.
You have a super chat.
Merrillville. I don't know what that means. Super chat from Sean McMillan. Thank you for the super chat, Sean. He said fishing? Question? Ha ha ha. It wasn't, but thank you.
So it's not on the way to Sweetwater, but I guess we could make that happen. It's actually really close to it's very, very,
Matt
very
Sanders
close.
said, I thought you had an immigrant housekeeper for a second.
Oh,
She
my-
did clean my house today,
Yes.
and it smells lovely in here.
And I can't understand what she says sometimes. It is very, very, very close to the Indiana Dunes National Park, right south of Gary by about 30 minutes. Yeah. All right. So I guess the thing is, we need to
I
try.
don't even think
Wait, I
it's
thought you were going to hide which one we tried.
it's Victoria G is. I think we'll be able to recognize.
You'll be able to tell by how it looks.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's Victoria G. It's been here. So
Well, that's okay. That's
All right,
okay.
Which one do you think we should start with? The one we know or the one we don't know?
The one we know. A little bit of comfort.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Let's just crinkle bags and microphones. This
What did you
bag
see
doesn't
my
want to.
favorite color. Oh, I do. Don't grab
There's
it.
one of them.
Don't grab it.
But those are my favorite.
Okay. The white ones are the best. They're pineapple.
White and then green.
Is that?
Oh, it smells like gummy bears in here.
Wanna bring them?
All
I
right.
will lead with I like these gummy bears the best because of the texture.
Okay.
Because I have texture issues. And that's probably why I've not tried anything else, because I've had a lot of gummy bears and they're all disgusting because they're not those. Oh, those are big. Is that why you have less pieces? Those are big. Wait, do we know what
Is
flavor
there
that?
cops
Yeah.
here?
We get the pogo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a whole list of the flavors here.
But it doesn't say what color it is.
No. So you're going to
Do you
have
think
to...
pineapple is white again? Oh, yeah. No kidding. Like here? Here?
No.
On the main road?
No, like in the neighborhood, but not here.
Ah, somebody just choked
gonna-
on something probably.
Ooh.
Probably choked on a gummy bear.
Pineapple. If it's mango, I'm going to be mad. I don't like
I don't
mango.
trust this. I want the blue one.
Well,
Blue raspberry?
Yes. Do you want a blue one?
are y'all scared now?
Yes.
It's very gummy.
This is, you're like taking this gummy bear thing very seriously. I told you. This is
I
how...
want to spit it out.
Oh, I
don't know what flavor that is. It's really gross. It's really gross. I don't like their texture.
Oh my gosh. This is hilarious. What are we going to do with this huge bag of gummy bears that nobody likes? Because I'm not going to eat them. Try a different color.
No! It's the texture, man.
I felt like I was eating some kind of adhesive, like the.
Do you have experience in eating glue?
No.
That would explain a few things.
Those
You're
are
my dad. What's that say about you?
It's true.
those are not good.
They're not good, huh?
Not a convert.
I
Alright.
do not want natural flavored gummy bears.
All right. Well,
I want my artificial
I guess that is all we need to know.
Texture.
glucose syrup.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Your artificial glucose syrup.
in my
Do we have any
glucose
comments
bag.
over there? Because people are probably cracking up. This is so dumb. Hilarious.
Um,
Hilarious and dumb.
Hang on. Super chat from Doc Stiltonen. Thanks for a super chat, Doc.
Thank
He
you,
says,
Doc.
Haribo are the best. Lots of gummies here are now, quote, very special with psilocybin or THC. Yeah, the texture is still going to be crap, though.
Whoa.
Wait, they can't have guns in Canada, but they
You can have psilocybin gummy bears?
That's funny.
Genius.
Maybe I'm moving to Canada.
Frida tacos, Haribo are too hard. Nope. Walmart's great value used to be really good, but the last few times I've gotten them, they've been harder. Fleet Farm store brand are my go-to. I don't know what Fleet Farm is.
Fleet Farm is, they must be from the Midwest.
regional thing.
Yeah, that's like,
And if they
It's like a
say
hardware
great
store.
value ones are hard, like I would try those.
so it's the squishy. See, and any gummy thing, to me is too, I just can't do it, man.
Is that a
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Marcia Murray says pineapple only belongs on pizza. LOL.
I would eat pineapple on pizza.
Charles Davis says I like my gummies from the dispensary.
Dispensary.
Yeah, I get that.
I get that.
Matt Sanders says that was conclusive. Sean McMillan said cleared the room. LMAO.
Oh, that was pretty funny.
Curtis Chavez said it's good that it smells like gummy bears there. It could be like here. I'm on a crowded elevator and I'm smiling nonchalantly.
On a
Marcia
crowded.
Murray says Elmer's was tasty.
I remember
I've
Elmer's.
never eaten glue. Okay.
John Own 20 can't play any Roddy. Thank you for the super chat. He said, sorry, family distractions. My son just saw my Safari pen. Says the metal version is his favorite. Working through my 4th ink cartridge.
Nice.
It's awesome. Yeah, William De Silva says Albanese are my favorite non-THC gummies. Doc Stilton said, ever had gummy bear infused vodka?
Yes.
I have
I've
not.
had vodka infused gummy bears.
Before I forget, if you go to atlasstationers.com and you use the code Dylan10, I'm pretty sure tomorrow, maybe even today, but definitely I think tomorrow and Saturday, you get 20% off instead of 10.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because
They're
tomorrow
going
is
to be having sales.
tomorrow's National Fountain Pen Day. Yeah.
Can you bundle too?
You can't stack doorbusters on top of a discount, but some of the doorbusters are like 50% off, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, check out Dylan. Go to use the code anyway, because then I get credit for it. So yeah. Or use the link in the description because that's an affiliate link.
Curtis Chavez says, am I tripping or were the very first gummy bears cinnamon flavored exclusively? I've never had a cinnamon flavored gummy bear, so I don't know.
that I would like that. Here.
You don't like,
She can't eat them because she's on a mic.
So
I've been eating them.
Okay.
You should put them up though. Because I don't really want them.
did you just only take that flavor?
No, I just grabbed two. I didn't even look.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
What about you, dinosaur thief?
He hasn't come and said hello tonight yet either.
This is a problem. That's embarrassing.
What? He's taller than you?
He's as tall as me.
Yep. Well, I guess.
Sanders said, I flip my pens and pencils. I would be afraid that a fountain pen would cause a mess.
You know,
It doesn't.
it doesn't really. Like, you kind of, once you learn how to manage it, it's not that big a deal. And actually, if you use cartridges, like, she doesn't fill any of her own pens. I do all her stuff, but you have some cartridges and you'll do those, and that's not messy. Yeah. But
Sean McMillan said, any suggestions on Japanese kitchen knife brands? Looking for quality, but not super expensive.
So I don't know. There's the Japanese knife market's different. It's not like here where we have like Benchmade and Buck and Kershaw and right. It's not like that. Or even, your normal knife brands like for kitchen stuff like Wusthof and like whatever. Because over there they have Seikei City, Japan, where basically everyone that lives there makes knives. And then what they do is all these people make knives by hand or sort of by hand. And then a buyer comes in and buys from a bunch of these small builders and then brings them to a store. It's a weird system. So here's what I recommend on Japanese cutlery. Knifeware.com. It's knifeware, WEAR.com has a fantastic web YouTube channel. And the owner of that company, it's a Canadian company. They got a bunch of stores all over Canada, but they use DHL and when I order stuff from them, it shows up in 2 days. Like they're really good. And they'll tell you all about all the knife steels. They'll tell you about, these are our favorite blacksmiths. They'll tell you, and because I don't even know, because I don't know the names of the people because I can't say them. Like I do know that I have a couple of knives that are made by like renowned blacksmiths in Japan, but I don't know what the guy's name. It's not, like I know who Ken Onion is, right? Like he's a designer that has designed a bunch of knives. I know who, Bill Harsey is. I know who Chris Reeve is, right? Because I've an American knife collector, but the Japanese stuff is just done so differently that I can't really give you a brand, but that company is awesome. And they have price ranges from, 40, 50, but like normal kitchen knife size prices, right? So it's not like you can spend, $1,000 on a Santoku, but you could also get one for $60 and it'll still be good because they only carry good stuff, but I don't know what it is. I don't know. I know it, but I don't know it to recommend it to other people.
Super chat from Tazzy Tim. Thank you for the super chat, Tim. He said, what's hidden in the stubby holder tonight?
Stubby holder.
I thought that was a koozie.
Oh, I don't have a stubby holder tonight. So I have sparkling water and I just have some straight tequila, Avion Reposado tequila.
And I have sparkling water with the tequila in it.
Oh, okay. So basically, I'm just going one, then the other, then one, then the other, and you're doing it mixed.
Yeah, which means I'm sucking it down, and I can feel it.
Mm. That's okay.
Doc Siltonen said sour gummies. I don't do a lot of sour gummies. Brianna really likes sour.
She likes sour
Worm.
stuff. Yeah.
Gummy worms, yeah. William De Silva says, I make glass pens that use Bic cartridges. That's cool.
What?
Like you blow glass. Like, that is a fascinating trait to me.
I would be interested. I hate Bic, but I would be interested just because you make them in understanding and learning more about that. So if you want to send me an email or something, and I don't mean for free, I mean, I am very interested in pen stuff and very interested in unique pen stuff. So, I'm glad you said something. Please send me an email. I would love to learn more about that.
Yeah. So Sean McMillan said it's hard to research because of the language barrier and difference in markets. But you're watching a YouTube channel. I know you've learned a lot there. And there's, I don't remember where Sean is, but I know he travels. But we also learned a lot in like a chef type kitchen knife store.
So the other place that I buy stuff is in Denver.
Yeah.
And that is called Carbon Knife Company. And they are in Denver, downtown Denver, and they have a really good website. And the people there are very knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where I went. That's where I bought my first one. And I spent an hour and a half there.
Yep. And they will, that's what they want to do.
Yes.
I want you to handle it. They want you to try it.
I walked in there and I was like, I'm a knife freak. I have tons of knives. I know all there is to know about, you know what I mean, about America, like pocket knives and stuff. I know nothing about Japanese knives. I don't know what is good steel. I know nothing about it. And I was like, teach me everything I need to know. And it was like an hour and a half later, I bought an 8-inch Gyuto, well, 240 millimeter Gyuto. And I think I want to say I probably spent like $240 on that knife, which was a lot, but it was I wanted my first one to be like an actual hand forged, not made by a machine. Like I just wanted a really,
yeah. There are sets available, like a Wusthof Japanese brand that you can get in like a nicer store. I don't remember what they're called.
Yeah. If you want something more available, Shun
that's it.
makes a really cool set of, I have one of those from that set. It's a little, it's not a Santoku, but it's their little meat knife. I bought it locally here, and I don't think I paid like $80 for it. But it's OS 10 steel, which is a stainless, and it's real thin. It's all Japanese geometry, but it's easy to take care of and stuff. And then the other brand I would recommend for this is Bradford USA. So Bradford actually makes EDC knives, like EDC pocket knives. I have one of their fixed blades that I carry quite a bit, but they came out with a kitchen line. And I want to say the entire set of 3 knives is $300, and it's AEBL stainless or MagnaCut steel, depending on what you get. And they're made in the United States by a couple of a married couple, actually. They're really cool people. We've met them a few times. But they're all Japanese geometry with American steel.
Yeah. And they're fabulous.
Those are your favorite knives.
Yeah.
We have tons of knives, and those are, you and Brianna both really like them. And you don't have to care so much. The legit Japanese cutlery, it's like you have to clean it right away. You have to
special cutting board.
Yeah, yep. You can't use a Richlite cutting board or a hardwood cutting board. The cutting board we have for that is $150. So like, where this other stuff is, the knives are much more reasonable. They're still made by a very small company in the United States. And and I would recommend the Bradford USA stuff. I would recommend it to anybody because it's very thin, very thin. I think it's 10 thou, and the geometry is great. The steel is great. I mean, they're really, really cool. We did a video on them right after Blade Show. If you go to the other channel, the Dylan and Leslie channel, we did a video about the Bradford stuff right after Blade Show. So probably in the end of June, I think I did a video on those.
So the other night, Brianna and I had a moment. I forgot you got that in between size.
Yeah.
And I think I was using the big one. And, proportionately speaking, she had the middle size one. And I was like, wait, how do you have that knife? I'm using that knife. Like, it took me a minute to remember that we had two of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, William De Silva about the glass pens. He said he'll email you.
I'm curious about that.
Let's see.
Do you make dip pens? I'd be interested in a handmade dip pen too. With the spirally.
Those don't take cartridges, so that's a whole different art, I bet.
Right, I know, but I'm curious about it. I think it would be neat.
Dog Dr. Tim said, "What is the knife of the night? That one you were told not to stroke."
So today I was carrying two. This is a Microtech UTX out the front, automatic. And then the other one that I was just kind of fiddling with is a ProTech Cambria.
Forgot about the polished blade.
Yeah.
The only polished blade we have, isn't it?
Yeah. And this is a Mike Erie hand ground. See, it's got compound grind. There's 2 grinds in it. And a guy named Mike Erie actually hand grinds this and then polishes it to that mirror
Polished
polish.
blades are my favorite. And I look at them every time and then I see the price and I'm like, oh, nope.
Yeah. This one was not inexpensive, but I'll tell you something funny. So I was standing at the table because I was with Barry when I bought this, and I bought this and I was standing there talking to the guy that I always talk to when I go to ProTech at Blade Show, and he's like, actually, if you want to meet him, Mike Erie is standing right behind you. So I turned around and Mike Erie was standing right behind me, the guy that did the hand grinding, and I actually have 2 Mike Erie blades now. See that carbon fiber one?
Mm-hmm.
That hollow grind on that TRM is also a Mike Erie hand ground. So yeah, that's what I have too. It's pretty neat. I love that stuff. That one's not polished though.
William De Silva says, yes, I make both styles. I'm a pipe maker by trade, but I make all kinds of other glass art. Pipe maker THC by trade. Is that some kind of glass something? I don't even know. Make all kind of other
THC pipe.
glass
Like
art. Pipe maker.
Yeah.
Oh.
not like a plumbing pipe.
I thought it was like a pipe, like the Pipe Fitters Union.
No.
Wrong.
No, I would love to have. I love that stuff. I think that's so neat, man. And anything, especially if you know a person and they make a cool thing, just to support them and to have that thing, and that's really cool.
Dr. Tim said that blade is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You were supposed to talk about something. You talked about Pen Day tomorrow.
20% off. We're going to talk about gummy bears. We did that. Even though I kept wanting to say jelly beans.
Yeah, they're definitely not jelly beans.
We did a video today on the other channel about the TS Prof knife sharpener.
Did you?
Yep. I finally did it. I've had it for 6 months and I finally got around. Because somebody on this video, on the Thursday night live stream was like, yo, you should try a TS Prof fixed angle sharpener. And they're really expensive. And so I was like, do I want to spend that kind of money? And I bought it and I'm like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. Every knife we have is razor sharp because of that thing. It's rad. And it's really easy to use too, actually.
Dr. Tim said, Mike is talking about the Pipe Hitters Union.
That's a t-shirt.
That's pretty cool.
That is actually a t-shirt. That's pretty good. The Pipe Hitters Union.
And Sean is laughing at us. He was like, oh. Yeah, I definitely felt like I had a blonde moment there. Like I'm reading it and and you're like, Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops. And
The Pipe Hitters Union.
William De Silva said, LOL, that's why I made sure to specify.
Yeah. That's funny.
Dean McCaskill said, I'm still here. I'm starting to get into Japanese expensive kitchen knives. Love that.
Expensive kitchen knives. Yeah.
Depends on what your budget is.
Yeah. It depends on what your budget is. It's funny because I really bucked against buying an expensive kitchen knife. When I say expensive, I mean like, if you go to, I don't know, if you go to Bed Bath and Beyond, right? And
We got into ceramic knives for a while.
yeah, because we have a set of Kyocera Japanese ceramic, which is very cool, but you got to be real careful with them. I broke one. They're easy to chip. They're really hard to sharpen, and you do need to sharpen them. So anyway, of course, I have all these fancy pocket knives, and for some reason, I just had a mental block in my head, like, why would I spend more than like $75 on a kitchen knife because it's a kitchen knife? And I'm like, no, I spend way more than that on a pocket knife. Why don't I spend one on? And so I was talking to the gal that owns Bradford, and she's like, this is what we try to tell everyone. You spend $200 on a pocket knife and you use your kitchen knife way more. Your kitchen cutlery are what you use the most.
Yeah, and she's very passionate, but their kitchen line is significantly smaller than their pocket knife line because they know what the market's doing.
Yes.
But she's very passionate about those.
Do you know why they're doing it? Everybody's doing it. Microtech has a kitchen line now.
Do they?
Yeah, I want to buy one of their 8-inch chef knives.
Out
It's
the front.
sick.
Out the front
Out the front kitchen knife. No, I'll tell you why they're doing it. Everybody's doing it. It's because of the crackdown on social media, not being able to share. So
you can talk about kitchen knives?
Well, here's the thing. YouTube changed the rules. It has to do with the classification of what a weapon is. So if a company sells kitchen cutlery, it puts them in a different what they can call themselves, and they don't get shut down on stuff. So everybody's starting to sell kitchen cutlery because
like car manufacturers who like have hybrids.
Exactly.
Some requirement.
And to be honest with you, like she said, everybody uses kitchen cutlery. Why don't we have good kitchen cutlery? And she's right. Benchmade has a whole line, but their stuff is so expensive. For a set of their three knife set, I think is $1,200.
What?
Which makes no sense to me. Yeah. I'll tell you another kitchen knife I want to buy is, my favorite fixed blade brand is Half Face Blades. Oh, it's this hat right here. But their stuff is the same thing. I think their cheapest kitchen knife is $400. But I mean, I have another one of their knives that costs that much, so I don't know why I don't. But it's like, it's just a lot of money. So, but that's why this other stuff that we're talking about is way more. Japanese stuff is actually way more reasonable because you can get a good petty knife for $80, $90. You can get a good.
It's probably because then you're not paying for a brand.
Well, and that's the thing. You don't know where I guess that's the give and the take of it, right? It's like you're buying from some dude in Japan, which is kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But the trick is, do you know what you're getting? And so that's why I try to stick with this couple companies, Knifeware and Carbon Knife Company, because I figure if they're stocking it, then it's probably good. I don't have to worry about whether it's good or not. And I can just pick the style and pick the look and stuff and just, decide on my budget and whatever.
And it's authentic when it comes in like Japanese newspaper.
It does, because it'll come in a box and you have to unroll it and then you have to unroll it again and then you have to unroll it again. And there's all these little tags you can't read. And yeah, it's kind of cool, actually.
I don't know why it's not in like a have a happy day with a tied bag around it on the outside.
Some of them are. It depends. Or in the box and then they are inside.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I actually have a Japanese pocket knife. Let me see if I can grab it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So this is a traditional Japanese slip joint pocket knife with this like reverse tanto blade on it. And it is razor sharp. You could shave with it. But it's kind of dangerous because this is a traditional, all it is a stamped piece of brass that's bent. And there's no detent or anything. So it's just a slip joint like this. And then you flip it with your finger like that. And then you put your thumb on top of it. And that's the only lock.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
it's very, I mean, I don't use it, but and all the letters on it are in Japanese. And they're not expensive. You know, it's just a carbon steel, some Japanese carbon.
Dangerous.
But see, it's sanmai. Like it's a proper sanmai blade. So it's got the hamon right there. It's two different steels and it's, you know, but it was like $35 or something. It wasn't expensive, but yeah, pretty neat. Yep. I forgot about that one.
Well, we got nothing.
All right. What time is it? Well, it's 9:31.
Cool.
Let's we can call it. We'll work on another video for the tomorrow. And go over to DylanTalksTone, buy some parts, pickups, etc. We'll see you tomorrow.